Welcome to today's webinar, our Vivi Basics for the Classroom. So wanted to run through essentially the core functionality of Vivi, talk about some of the main features. I'm not going to run through every single one today, just because it's a lot. But what I will do, I will actually show you where at the end of the session, I will show you some further resources that you can get. So just to kick off with a little bit of housekeeping. So for those who I haven't met, my name is John. I'm the Senior Customer Education Manager at Vivi. So look after the training for all our schools all across Australia and New Zealand. I'm based over in Melbourne, hence why if you look at my clock, I'm half an hour ahead. But I kind of travel all over the place as part of my role. I also like to point out as well that I'm a former classroom teacher. So as soon as I say that, people go, oh, he knows what he's talking about. So yeah, spent about 13 years teaching kind of across the whole range. So taught a bit in the UK and taught like nursery, so 3-year-olds, and have taught all the way through to, in our case, VCE, but all the way through to year 12, teaching drama all the way up there, but kind of spent a lot of time within the middle school from about year 5 through to year 9, teaching a fair bit in there. So in terms of what I'm going to cover today, first of all, do a little bit of an overview of what Vivi actually is, talk about how you can connect to Vivi, so really show some of those basics for those who haven't used Vivi at all, and then talk about what I consider to be the essential features and go through some of those. Also have plenty of time for Q&A. You're more than welcome to ask away as we're going. Abigail, keep an eye on the chat just because of my setup here. It's really hard for me to watch the chat. So Abigail's really good at that. I like having her on these webinars. So yeah, she'll keep an eye on that and let me know if there's any questions. So first of all, for those who are like, what is a Vivi, who haven't heard about it or don't really know much about it. So first of all, the thing I always like to point out is Vivi is an Australian product. It was founded here in Melbourne. Our founder was one of those people who he was asked by a school to find a particular solution and he couldn't find it. So he went, fine, I'll build it myself. And so he did. So he's one of those kind of people. Grown now to be across 20 different countries. So we do have offices now in the US and in the UK, or more teams in those areas. So spread all across. We're in about, I think it's 60,000 classrooms are up to and used by around about 500,000 teachers and students. So big, definitely big growth over the last few years. I've been with you now about 6 years. So in terms of what it actually is, it all started as wireless screen sharing. So being able to share from your device through to the classroom display without worrying about cables, connectors, all that sort of stuff. There's then a whole bunch of other features in there today, and that's what I really want to emphasize as well, some of those extra features in there. So what I'm going to do, I don't do death by PowerPoint. I'm going to jump straight in and start looking at it. I'm going to, first of all, have a little bit of a look at how you actually connect. I know some of you all have already done this, so please bear with me for the next minute while I go through this. But before I jump into it, the one thing I do want to point out, I'm obviously using a Windows device today, but Vivi does work essentially the same across any device. So if you've got a MacBook or if you're using something like an iPad or a Chromebook, it will work across those as well. So you can definitely use it in those scenarios. So in terms of accessing, the very first thing you will need to do is you will need to log into Vivi. So what it will do the first time you open the Vivi app, it's going to ask you to enter the name of your organization. So that's the name of the school that you're at. So it's not the DFE, it is specifically your school that you'll need to enter. Now, because of the way that the DFE is set up, you'll probably see a list of all the different schools that are part of Vivi. However, there will be a search function there. So you'll be able to search for your school name and then just select it. You'll then see a page that looks a little bit like this. The only difference, you won't actually see a sign up button, you'll just see a login button. You'll click on that and what you'll be taken to is like the DFE login page. So you'll be able to log in using your existing email address and password so you don't have to remember a whole nother one. So it makes it a little bit easier for you. So you can use those to log in. So I'm going to put mine in now and log in. Now, you may be presented the very first time you use it, you may see one of those end user license agreement thingies. You are more than welcome to read through it if you like. I have, it's not very exciting, but you can read through it. Once you're happy with that, click on I agree, and then you're done. Vivi will keep you logged in forever. You don't have to log in every single time, so it'll keep you logged in for all time. So really handy with that one. What you'll then be taken to is this page here that we refer to as our rooms page. So on the left-hand side, you're going to see a list of all the rooms within the school. Now, depending on your school setup, this will look different. I'm using my little fake school here, so yours will look a little bit different to mine. In my particular case, mine's been divided up into individual sub-schools. And then if I go into, for example, my senior school, it's divided into different buildings. So depending on your school setup, you'll either see a list of all the classrooms in the school, or it might be divided up into groups. You can also use the search to find a particular room. Now, if you're ever not sure which room you're in and what it's called, on your Vivi display, there'll be either a blue or black bar down the bottom of it, and that will say on there the room name. So in my case, that one says B01, so that's a room that I'm in here. Now, over on the right-hand side, down the bottom here, you've got nearby rooms, which is literally that. It's rooms that I'm close to. So in my case, B1 is the screen behind me here. So it's detecting that I'm here. Typically within the school, it's going to pick up the classroom you're in and a couple of classrooms around you. Sometimes if you're in like a double-story building, it'll pick up rooms above or below you. It just kind of depends. But it just makes it a little bit easier to connect to those. Then you can also have favorite rooms. So favorite rooms are those rooms you teach in all the time. You can have as many favorites as you like. So for those of you who are like a classroom teacher, you can have that as your favorite. But if you're, you know, a secondary teacher in a larger school and you teach across a whole bunch of different classrooms, you can have all of those as your favorites. You're not limited to just one. So to add a room as a favorite, all you do next to the room name, you just click on the little star and that adds it as a favorite. So easy as that. There is another option called default rooms, which I'll show you in just a moment. But then to connect to your room, you're just going to select it from any of these places and it'll connect you into your classroom. So let's talk about default rooms before I talk about how you actually share. So default rooms, this is really designed for those of you who teach within one classroom 99% of the time. So for classroom teachers, specialists who have their own classroom, that kind of scenario. Essentially what this is, if you activate it, it's going to skip that rooms page whenever you open the Vivi app. So you don't have to go through that page. It'll automatically connect you into your classroom. So it just makes, I know it sounds simple because it's only going to save about 5 seconds, but let's be honest, in the classroom, 5 seconds is valuable. So just makes your life that little bit easier. So all you do to activate it, just click on default. It'll ask you if you want to, and then you just set it as your default. And so it'll skip that option for you. So that's connecting to the classroom. You can see that I'm currently not sharing to my screen, so I need to activate screen sharing. So the way I do that is by simply clicking share screen, and that's it. So it's going to share through to my classroom display. I don't have to do anything else, so you can see it's sharing through to the screen behind me. Don't have any cables, connectors, anything like that. So it's pushing that through nice and easily. So now I can put up whatever content I want to. Now, what Vivi has done is it's shrunken down into the little floating toolbar here. From here, there's a bunch of bits and pieces that I can do, but sticking with, you know, how we're talking about core functionality here, showing you the important ones. So first up, stop will obviously stop sharing. So once I'm done with sharing, I click on the stop, everything stops sharing on the display. Pause, this replaces, you know, when you'd have like the freeze button on projector remotes, so it replaces that. So say I've got some instructions up I want the kids to follow, and then I go, oh, I need to send that email. I can click on the pause. It will shrink Vivi out of the way first, just so it's not blocking any of those instructions, but that screen is now frozen, and so I can now go on with whatever else I want to on my laptop here. When I'm ready to start sharing again, it's just changed to a resume button, so I can click on that and it'll continue sharing. Now, I'll talk about some of these other ones as we go, but just the last two here. Home will just take me to the full version of the app so I can use all the different features, and hide will shrink the toolbar out of the way. So say I've got a PowerPoint or something like that up and I don't want the toolbar in the way, I can click on that hide. That's the very basics of being able to share your screen. Nice and simple to do, designed to be as straightforward as possible. For those of you who are brand new to Vivi, that's what I always say, just get your head around that first. Definitely get your head around sharing your screen, and then start to have a play with these other features. So that's what I want to start talking about now. Now, the next two features, share window and share camera, these are actually brand new or relatively new. They rolled out earlier this year. ones that one of them in particular was really asked for quite a lot. So I'm glad that it's rolled out. And the other one is just so handy. So first up, share window. Works a little bit like when you're using something like Teams and you go to share your screen over that and you get that little pop-up asking you if you want to share your entire screen or individual windows or tabs. Works like that. So let's say for my class, I want to share this particular PDF, but at the same time, I don't want to share my entire screen because I might get pop-ups and things like that appear, like notifications from my emails or stuff like that. So what I can do, I can click on the share window button. It'll detect what I've got open. So you can see it is detecting things like the team stuff at the moment, but it'll detect different windows you've got open. So you just select the one you want to share. And if I click on share window, it's going to push that one through to my classroom display there. It is live, so if I scroll to the next page, you'll see that it'll update on the screen behind me. So it is live there. However, it is only sharing that particular window through. So if I open something else up, this is just, Microsoft window there, then it's not going to push through to that screen at all. It's only going to push that particular window through. So super, super useful in there. The one thing I am pointing out with this at the moment, because it is new, there is one slight limitation with it, and it does give you a warning on here as well. It currently doesn't support audio. Our team are working on it to be able to support that. I don't have a release date for it yet, though. So if you do need to share something that has audio, make sure you use share screen, not share window. So just be aware of that one. Now, share camera. This one is so good. I absolutely love it. One of those ones that sounds super simple, but amazingly useful. So all it does is it shares a live stream of your device's webcam through to the classroom display. So handy for things like quick and easy document camera, or if you're teaching something practical and you want to be able to demonstrate it without all the students crowding around your desk, can make it really easy. So all I do is click on share camera. The very first time you use it, you may need to give Vivi access to your camera, but that's what it's going to do. So that's just my laptop sitting over there. So that's what it's grabbing. It's grabbing the webcam from there and pushing it through to the classroom display behind me. So if I wanted to use it, this is just my daily calendar, I could push that through there. You will see the text is around the right way. So if it's got text on it, that will be correct. It's not one of those that mirrors it, but it pushes that through. Or if I wanted to show something practical, I could demonstrate it there. So I'm able to do that one. There are a few bits and pieces in there. There's a pause function in there. You can switch to other cameras if you've got them plugged in. So for example, this smart cam is the one that I'm talking to on Teams on. So I can switch to different cameras. I can also use the annotate option, and I will talk about annotate later in it, but just know that this is available within this particular feature as well. So those are our two newer features. We do also have a new feature coming soon, which is Stream to all students. And if I've got time, I may talk about it. I'll see how I go. Hopefully coming out in the next few weeks, though. So keep an eye out for that one. So next one across, play content. Personal favorite feature of mine. It's divided into a few parts, but I really wanted to talk about one main part today, and that's online video content. And with that, I'm really talking YouTube here. The technical aspect behind it is it will play unprotected video content. So that's essentially video that's not behind some sort of login wall. So it won't play stuff from like Netflix, Disney Plus, that kind of thing, just because Vivi can't log into it for you. But as I said, YouTube, 99% of the videos that we have played through this are YouTube videos. The rest are probably from Vimeo as the other main one that we see videos from, but really YouTube's the main one. Main advantages of playing videos this way. First up, it's going to improve the performance of the video. It's going to play nice and smoothly. You won't have any issues with video playback. Second advantage, with the video from YouTube, it's going to get rid of all the ads, pop-ups, all those sorts of annoying things that YouTube puts on there. That also includes things like autoplay, suggested content, everything like that, all gone. The third reason that I absolutely love this is that while that video is playing, your laptop's free to do other stuff at the same time. So when you've got to play that documentary for the class that you've seen 50 times before, instead of you having to sit through it yet again, you can play it for the class and at the same time be marking the role or setting up the next part of the lesson or whatever it is that you need to do. So the way this works, super easy to use. I have a video here that I want to play for my class. You can see being YouTube, it wants to play an ad and everything like that beforehand. all I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the URL. Now, I go to the YouTube website first just so you can see where I'm getting it from. If you have that URL in somewhere like a planning document, you can totally copy it from there as well. I then click on Play Content. And up the top here where it says to paste video or audio links, I can paste that link in there and then click on Play. So that's it. It's just copy, paste, play. What it's going to do, it's going to check and then load the video. This typically takes about 5 to 10 seconds. I will say mine was a little bit quicker then because I've actually already done this about an hour ago when I was doing another training session. So that's why mine was a little bit quicker, but usually it takes kind of about 5 to 10 seconds. You can see no ad played. It's playing all nice and smoothly. That's all playing through. I will mention I have the speakers switched off on my screen, but normally the sound would play as well. So that's what my class are watching. What I have is kind of like a remote control for that video. So there's a pause function there. So say they say something interesting I want to discuss with the class, I can click on the pause. We can now chat about it, blah, 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 blah. And then when I'm ready to resume, I can click on the play. There's a closed caption button there. So if the video's got subtitles on it and you've got any kids in the class who need subtitles, you can just click on that and it adds those on the bottom of the screen there. You can also control the volume of it if you need to, so you can turn it up and down nice and easily. And then the other bit, this green bar that's slowly filling across here, I can click and drag that to a specific point. So this is quite a long video. It's half an hour long. I may not want to play the whole thing. So I can just click and drag that forward and it'll jump ahead and continue playback from that particular point. But now that video is playing, yeah, sorry.
John, just a quick question, and I think that the person already knows the answer, but she has said she can't play ABC iView. Is that because of login as well?
100%, yeah. Unfortunately, with things like iView and all the TV networks are the same, so SBS On Demand, those kind of ones, because you've got to log into them, Vivi can't play it. You can still play that content just by sharing your screen. The other thing I recommend with iView is check to see if it's on YouTube, because a lot of it is. We do also have an integration with ClickView. So if you use ClickView at the school, a lot of the iView stuff is on ClickView as well. So double check those locations because we do integrate with ClickView. So you can check that. So that's kind of my workaround for those. But yeah, now that my video is playing, I can just minimize the Vivi app and go on with whatever else I want to go on with on my laptop here. So really, really handy. The final thing I always point out with this as well is when you get to the end, so let me just fast forward to like the last few seconds. What's going to happen, it's going to go back to the basic Vivi screen in just a moment. It's not going to start sharing my laptop automatically. That is by design. So if I have my emails up or something like that, they're not going to accidentally share to the classroom display. So totally designed like that on purpose. Now, there are a couple of other things that you can do in here. So you can drag and drop in files, things like PowerPoints, video files, stuff like that. So you can play those through this as well. So definitely worth having a bit of an explore of if you're keen on that. But I know I mentioned it briefly. We do have a ClickView integration. So I did want to mention that as well. So in terms of ClickView, what you'll need to do if you do want to play a ClickView video, there are 2 steps to it. The first step, you're going to click on this ClickView button here, and that now activates the screen in ClickView ready to go. I then go onto the ClickView website, and I apologize, I just realized I didn't have it open. So let me quickly log into ClickView and go to the video that you would like to play. So I'm going to, let's educate the kids and get them to watch Wicked. What I can do on here, pause that properly, just down along the bottom here on your stream to devices button, you'll click on that and now you'll be able to select your classroom from there. So I can now push that through. And so now, once it loads, it'll start playing that video onto my display there. No, it's just decided ClickView is having a moment. It would normally start playing. It's probably just my network having a moment. Actually, yeah, that would be why, because I'm in a residential area and all the kids are getting home from school and my network decides to go, no, everyone's using the internet. But yeah, ClickView would then play that way. You would get the controls for it a little bit like before here in the Vivi app, so you can play that kind of thing as well. All right, let me minimize that. So next thing I wanted to talk about was Whiteboard and Annotate and those kind of tools that are built into this. So as I said, we do have a whiteboard. So it's a whiteboard. You can draw over the screen. I will mention the screen in front of me is not a touch screen, so I can't use my finger on it. But if I was using my laptop is a touch screen, so I could use my finger or a stylus on it. If you do have a touch screen in the classroom as well, Vivi can do what we call touch back, which means it can do that wireless touch. If it's not working, there's just a cable that needs to be plugged in, so chat to your IT person so they can make sure that's plugged in. Now, in terms of the different drawing tools, they are available on the bottom, and when I click them, I get more options. So there's a pen where I can get some colors and line thicknesses. There's a highlighter, shapes drawing, text typing. I've got an eraser in there. Now, next to the eraser, this button here, this will let me load a background image. So we've got some different types of paper. There's some graphic organizers, and then there's some sport fields. Or I can use the add image or add PDF buttons to load any image or any PDF from my computer. So that's the PDF I shared before. So that's that one there. And that's an image that I just did a quick Google image search for a world map. And so I could use that as well and annotate over the top of that. Now, at the moment, you might be able to see up the top, I've got 1 out of 1 boards. I can have up to 50 in here. So if I want to add more, my third button from the end looks like 2 little overlapping squares. I can click on that, add in some more pages, continue my annotations. Now, if I'm looking at this going, this is amazing, and I really want to save it, I can do that just with my hamburger menu, can click on there and I get my save option. So I can copy it to my clipboard, save it to my device, or save to the cloud. So I can save to a Google Drive, OneDrive, or OneNote. Now, what is the link to this is the annotation tool. So let me share my screen. And from here in the toolbar, I've got an annotate option. So with that, I can click on that. And basically what it does is it takes a screenshot of whatever I had on the classroom display, sets it as the background image. So now I can draw over the top of it. So, you know, this could be, for example, where I'm using the highlighter to show my students some note-taking skills. It could even be one of those ones where I'm going, guys, this is the bit here to focus on. Ignore everything else on the screen. Just look at this bit here. So, yeah, I could be emphasizing something, whatever it is that I need to do. So all the same drawing options. You've also got the same save options in there as well if you need those. I'll skip students for a moment because I'll talk about them very briefly at the end. The last tool, main tool that I wanted to talk about though was clocks and timers. So with clocks and timers, you can use this to put up full screen clocks, stopwatches and timers up on the classroom display. So with my clock here, I can choose an analog, a digital or both. And so that'll put it up on the screen there, nice and big for the students to see. I've got a stopwatch option so I can display it. And then I get the controls for it here in my app. So I can start it. I can do laps, so they'll just appear behind me there. And then the timer. So this is a countdown timer. So I choose how long I want the timer to run for. I can choose my alert length. So this is how long the screen will alert for at the end. So by default, it flashes between 2 shades of like a dark purple color. I can also turn on an audio alert if I want to. I'm not going to bother because I don't have my speakers on. However, as a trigger warning for those of you who are iPhone users, it is the same as the wake up alarm on the iPhone. So just be aware of that. Repeat, really good for things like station activities. So say I've got the kids doing 5 minutes at a station with a 30-second changeover. I can set 5-minute timer, 30-second alert length, repeat it 6 times, however many stations they're doing, and it'll scroll through that pattern for me. But for now, just doing my 10-second. When I click on display, starts counting down automatically. I don't have to do anything else. There's also a blue bar slowly shrinking down behind it, so good for those visual learners or those kids who still aren't confident with the time yet. And then when it gets to 0, my screen will start flashing at me. That alarm would sound if it was set. Now, what's awesome about all of these, because they are full screen, let's say for whatever reason I need to put up an hour timer, instead of me losing my laptop for an hour, I can go on with other stuff on my laptop at the same time. So it gives me that flexibility there. So super handy to be able to do that. All right.
John, can you also overlay the timer on with something else so that you've got the instructions up there?
You most certainly can. So when I click on share screen, I do have a timer option here in the view in the toolbar, so I can click on that. It adds this extra piece onto here, and there is also a little overlay just down on the bottom of my screen here that's currently saying 2 minutes, ready to go. And again, I can play that, and so that will count down as well. So you have that option as well in there. All right. Very quickly, just to mention students, because I'm very aware of the time, with students are able to access the Vivi app. So theirs will look like this when they log in. So it'll grey out their button so they can't share their screen unless you give them permission. So if you ever want to do that, you click on give student control and give students permission. However, the reason I wanted to show it was because I wanted to give you a sneak peek of a new feature that's coming soon. So I thought, why not? So this is Stream to All Students. Stream to All Students will allow you to have the option, so it's up to you, to let students access a stream of what's on the classroom display. So all you do, you toggle it on in your app here. The students then get this button in their app, so they'll click on that, saying it's waiting because nobody's sharing. But once I start sharing my screen, not only is it going to the classroom display, it's also going out to the students here. So the students will see that. It should be live. I think this is my network being very slow again. But it'll be live out onto the students' devices, so they're able to see that pushing through to them as well. So the way we're really kind of marketing this, for lack of a better term, is for students with additional learning needs. Specifically talking here, students with visual requirements who will struggle to see a classroom display. They can get it open right in front of them. They can choose to go into full screen if they want to, so they're able to see that nice and big on their device directly in front of them. So it gives them that option there. Really cool feature. I'm expecting it within the next couple of weeks. Basically, our team, as you can see here, it's ready to go. There is just apparently a bit of a tech bug in the back end that they're trying to solve. And so they're like, we don't want to set an exact date yet, just while they try and get that resolved. But hopefully within the next couple of weeks, this will be able to start to roll out to schools. So definitely keep an eye out for it. So that's the main things I wanted to talk about today. If anyone's got any questions, though, happy to do that. Otherwise, I will wrap up with a couple of last bits of information. Just looking at the chat, I don't think anything else has come through. Great. Cool. So just to show you two different things. First up, if you want to access, we've got like some training videos and stuff like that. If you go onto our website, which is just vivi.io, or if you just search for Vivi, sometimes search for Vivi Education and it comes up a little bit easier. Under Learn and Support, we've got a training tab in here, and this will take you to our training hub. So on here, these are some courses that we have, so you can access those. Or under supplemental resources here, we've also got some tutorial videos, some pre-recorded trainings. I will say these trainings are recorded by my offsider in the US, so it is somebody with an American accent. So if you're not a fan of American accents, just be aware of that. But we've got some different information on there, so you're more than welcome to access that. Just to wrap up though, first up, if you wouldn't mind scanning that QR code, just letting us know how you found this particular session. Or you can also grab me at that email address there. It's training@vivi.io. You're more than welcome to reach out to us directly. So that's monitored by myself, my US offsider, and our boss. So we check that. But yeah, you're welcome to reach out if you've got any other questions, things like that, as you start to play with Vivi a little bit more.